shocking murder hidden in plain sight. A young mother found dead in her own home. From the very first hours, detectives felt the truth was right there in front of them. But as the case unfolded, every new detail only deepened the mystery. And when the final truth came out, it was so disturbing, so unexpected, that even the most seasoned investigators were left stunned. This is the story of Sarah Williamson, a brilliant woman, a devoted mother, and a victim of a crime that revealed betrayal where she least expected it. Sarah's bright beginning, Sarah Williamson, was born on June 20th, 1963 in Florida. Her childhood was marked by constant change because of her father's military service. For a while, the family lived on a military base, but eventually they settled in Albuquerque, New Mexico. From an early age, Sarah stood out. She was exceptionally gifted in math. Her IQ tested far above average, and she could solve problems most of her classmates found impossible. Teachers admired her natural brilliance, but Sarah wasn't just book smart. She was lively, energetic, and popular among her peers. By her teenage years, she had fallen in love with books, especially crime novels. She dreamed of one day writing her own. But life, as it often does, had other plans, the path of ambition and love. After high school, Sarah pursued mathematics at a nearby university. It was there she met Cohen, a young man who seemed to share her determination for success. They married soon after graduation. Sarah planned to continue her education with a master's degree in statistics, but a job offer at a military base came her way. Too good to turn down. Sarah excelled quickly, and soon she and Cohen relocated to Maryland, where she landed an enviable job at the National Security Agency. There she became known as a problem solver, someone who could break down complex statistical puzzles with ease. It was a huge leap in her career, and Sarah handled it with grace. But as her professional life soared, her personal life began to unravel. Her marriage to Cohen slowly disintegrated, and after 3 years, it ended in divorce. Sarah didn't give up. She went back to school for her master's at Johns Hopkins University. That's where she met Lorenzo, a business student. Like Sarah, he had already been married once. They bonded over shared experiences of failed marriages, and soon love bloomed again. After graduating, Sarah and Lorenzo married and moved to Elkridge, a comfortable suburb near Baltimore. In time, they welcomed a baby boy into their lives. It should have been a happy chapter, but almost immediately, cracks began to appear. A dangerous change in the marriage. Lorenzo's behavior shifted drastically after the baby's birth. He became controlling, suspicious, and emotionally detached from both Sarah and their child. His paranoia grew. At one point, he accused Sarah of having an affair with her boss at the NSA, a claim so outrageous that it triggered an internal investigation at the agency. The result? Nothing but humiliation for Sarah, who was completely innocent. The marriage spiraled into fear and conflict. In one terrifying moment, Lorenzo pulled a gun on Sarah during an argument. That was her breaking point. She filed for divorce and fought for custody of their son. By 1998, the two were living separate lives. Lorenzo moved back in with his parents, while Sarah, now 35, was raising their toddler mostly on her own. Their arrangement allowed Lorenzo visitation on weekends. Sarah carried on bravely, but deep down, she feared Lorenzo's volatility. In fact, just one day before tragedy struck, Sarah confided in her sister that she was genuinely afraid of him. She even asked that, if anything ever happened to her, her sister should take care of her son, because she didn't trust Lorenzo to raise him. The night of terror on Friday, November 13th, 1998, Sarah dropped her son off at Lorenzo's parents' house for the weekend. The next day she spent with her best friend, Laura. That night, as Laura went to bed, she had no idea a horrifying voicemail would be waiting for her in the morning. When she dialed in, she froze. On the tape was chaos, a woman screaming, the sound of a violent struggle. Laura was shaken to her core. She immediately called the police. Officers arrived at Sarah's home. The front window was smashed, the door locked. They found the back sliding door unlocked, but the alarm system still armed, something that made no sense. Inside, they discovered a scene straight out of a nightmare. Sarah's body lay in the living room, surrounded by blood spatter that painted the walls and ceiling. She had been stabbed again and again. The attack so frenzied it shocked even experienced detectives. And one detail stood out. The house looked staged. VHS tapes scattered across the floor, kitchen cabinets thrown open, but valuable items like Sarah's laptop and wallet left untouched. Whoever killed Sarah wanted this to look like a burglary, but detectives weren't convinced. The hunt for a killer. Detectives first looked at the obvious suspect, Lorenzo. He had motive, history of violence, and access. Yet when questioned, he denied involvement and pointed fingers at Sarah's boss. His family supported his alibi. No blood, no scratches, no forensic forensic evidence tied him to the scene. For a while, investigators considered other suspects, even Sarah's work at the NSA, but nothing fit. Then came a twist. Forensic testing revealed male DNA in Sarah's home. Not Lorenzo's, not his brother's, not his father's. The case stalled until months later. A shocking jailhouse confession cracked it wide open. The killer for hire in June 1999, 19-year-old Ardell Tickles, arrested for armed robbery, confessed to murdering a woman in her own home. He gave details only the killer could know. The window break-in, the machete attack, the sheer brutality. Detectives were stunned. When asked why, Ardell claimed he had been hired, paid thousands of dollars to kill Sarah, but not by Lorenzo, not by a jealous co-worker, by a woman. The mastermind, detectives discovered, was none other than Amelia, Sarah's mother-in-law. A mother-in-law's deadly. Plot. Amelia had never liked Sarah. She believed Sarah wasn't raising her grandson properly and feared that after the divorce, she would lose contact with the child altogether. Consumed by resentment, Amelia plotted the unthinkable. She hired Ardell, coached him on the alarm system, and told him exactly when Sarah would be alone. She paid him thousands, money traced directly from her bank withdrawal to Ardell's account. When confronted, Amelia at first denied everything, but faced with evidence and the possibility of losing her grandson forever, she confessed. Her trial ended with a life sentence. Ardell, too, was sentenced to life without parole. Aftermath: Sarah's young son was left to grow up without his mother. Despite Sarah's fears, custody remained with Lorenzo. He eventually remarried, had 3 more children, and lived until 2023. Amelia, now nearly 90, is still in prison, while Ardell's parole requests have been repeatedly denied. For investigators, the case was unforgettable, not just for the brutality of the crime, but for the betrayal at its heart. Sarah didn't die at the hands of a stranger in the dark. She died because someone within her own family wanted her gone. Closing: the story of Sarah Williamson is one of intelligence, strength, and tragic betrayal. She was a woman who had so much ahead of her, a brilliant career, a son she adored, but whose life was cut short by jealousy and fear. It leaves us with chilling questions. How far will someone go to keep control? And how well do we ever really know the people closest to us?